Welcome to Paperweights, the podcast where two self-proclaimed gym rats and shooting enthusiasts delve into the world of literature with a sprinkle of humor. Although their biceps could crush a walnut, don't let that intimidate you. They also have a nerdy side. Mike and Brandon have a voracious appetite for reading, particularly in the fantasy genre, and they want to share their passion with you. So grab your protein shake and your favorite novel and join us for a humorous and insightful journey into the world of books with Paperweights.
Welcome back to another episode of the Paperweights. I am your host, Brandon.
And Justin.
How have things been for you this week, Justin?
Oh, pretty good. Had Christmas. It was pretty low key. But yeah, it was fun. How about yourself?
Christmas was fun. On Monday, we lost my grandmother, um, and we did Christmas with my parents on Sunday, and just kind of everybody was happy with the news of grandma possibly being on the downhill. So we had a good Christmas. Then grandma passed away on Monday. Then I went to my other grandmother's Christmas get together on Christmas Eve, and then went to my mother-in-law's and we did Christmas over there. And now we're just pretty much waiting on grandpa to pass. The last I heard, which was yesterday, the last thing he ate was like Jello on Monday, and he's down to less than like 12 ounces of water a day, like drinking. He's just not into it. Um, so yeah, he expect him to pass in a few days. So, but
I'm sorry to hear all that.
yeah, let's try not to have a downer on the whole podcast. But yeah, that's been my week. Overall, I'm still in good spirits. I feel great about. I don't have any regrets for not making trips because they live in Dallas. Um, I got good 8 or 9 visits in the last 3 years, so um, 3 this year alone. I was supposed to be. I was planning on going this weekend. Um, but then everything just kind of went. So um, just stayed at home. We'll go there for the funeral. So, um, but yeah, looking forward to New Year's and all the good things that are going to be going on next year. Life
Yeah.
goes on. So it's a celebration of life. They were 93 years old. My grandparents were 93 years old. They came into the world on the same day. Um, so they were exactly the same age. And Um, part of me on Monday thought it would be very poetic if they ended up going out on the same day. But they lived a long life, and I've got that looking ahead of me. Like they lived to 93. My other grandmother is almost 90. So, you know, maybe 90 years old is in my future, which means I'm less than halfway through my life. So,
Yeah. Some look forward to it. Yeah. I mean, it's sad, but you have to celebrate, their long life. And, at a certain point, it gets, a little grim when you get way up there in age. So, age gracefully and take care of yourself, everybody. Maybe do some paperweights lifting. I need to
yeah.
start doing that.
Start lifting, do jujitsu, do some type of
Yeah.
stuff.
Keep my joints limber.
Yeah, I thought you mentioned that you get at age, it gets a little grim, but I just remember like one of my last few visits, my aunt asked my grandpa, could she get him anything? And he's like, "You can get me a gun." She's like, "I don't have one on me." And he's like, "Oh, damn." So, um, yeah, but anyway, welcome to the podcast. We are sponsored by Um, Mudcat Whiskers, a beard care product company local to Louisiana. They do ship, and so they have all kinds of products: beard wash, conditioner, butter, balm, oils, tools for your beards. They even have some like shampoo and body bars. And if none of that is for you, but you like candles, they do have candles in an array of scents. All of the scents that the candles are in also come in the beard products. They don't have every beard product scent in the candle, but they do vice versa. So you can check them out at their website, www.mudcatwhiskers.com. Use code paperweights at checkout, and soon you could be having a fantastic beard just like mine.
Yes. Hell yeah.
All right, let's jump into part two, our
Part
calling.
dose. Yeah. How you feeling so far, Brad, about this part?
Um, I think there's a lot of setup. I like that the um, we're getting to know more of the Radiants. I like that Adolin is the driver for connecting to these Radiants, especially uh, Gadeki, Zoo, and Stump. So we get uh, some of the other Radiants that we haven't quite met yet. Um, and that gives Adolin kind of that diplomatic um, role and gives him a purpose. I like that Adolin has uh, his inner thoughts are kind of about what his purpose is now that his role as a soldier is kind of a moot point with all the magic going on and the fact that he can be killed extremely easily. Um, and what else do I like? I like oh man, there was something else I did like with I like the Kaladin stuff is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then uh Raboniel. I'm really like Raboniel as a character. She is to me, um, she's she's to the singers what Novani is to the humans. Kind of like that same scholarly um, person, and I like that it just jumps right into her giving her knowledge. It again reminds me of Wheel of Time with some of the Forsaken and the amount of knowledge they have from a previous age, and the dump that she gives to Vinley is very useful for us and for Vinley herself too, and can kind of see where they connect.
Yeah, I like her because this series has needed an antagonist for a while. Because we really haven't had one. It's like Eshonai wasn't really an antagonist. And then like in book one, they were like amorphous, and I guess Statius was the antagonist. And like we have like Odium as the overarching thing, but he's like so powerful it doesn't really count. It's kind of like the Dark One in Wheel of Time. You don't really fight the Dark One. So like, and then like Vinley's not an antagonist, so we haven't really had one other than I guess Sadius, who got killed in book two. So it's good. We need more like actual people to challenge our characters,
Yeah,
which
I
I
like
like.
that direction too.
Um,
Um, the other thing that I just remember that I like is immediately like not dragging out the looking for the spy with Shallan. Although
yeah,
I agree with Shallan that it was way too easy to finger Beryl as the spy. So we'll see how that resolves itself.
yeah. My theory is it's one of the other radiants. Like it's the Stone Weaver, maybe.
The Stoneward Zoo.
Yeah, Zoo or the other or the Light, the Edge Dancer. I think the light weaver, like there was one in there, so maybe it's the guy that was sick, and like he like so to throw suspicion on the barrel, and then like one of the other radiants is a ghost blood as well. But
Okay.
that could be wrong. It just seems too obvious that it's one of the light weavers. So it's probably gonna be like another radiant or something. I don't know, but we'll see.
I still think it could be formless.
Maybe, yeah. So
So
I, yeah, be interesting.
because it's the book is setting up that it's not out of the question that one of her personas could do something where the others don't know that something is going on.
Yeah.
Um, just like it's like that traumatic block, right? Um,
Yeah.
that let stops the others from knowing. And then we know something is going on with Shalon and her personas, and they're not able to function as they thought they were going to at the end of last book, where she accepted them all as one person.
Yeah. I
Uh,
kind of have a wild theory about uh Shalon. Do you want to? It's probably not correct.
let's go. Let's hear it.
So I kind of have a feeling that Vistaries or whatever. I think maybe he's like her real father or something. Or like there's something with him that like she like left her with the mother and that whole thing. Because he's like you're gonna see him and then like you're gonna realize I won't have to tell you what's up. So like I have a weird feeling that maybe he's like her real father or something weird with him is something. I don't know. It's kind of like that.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Just because it has to be something like how did she get a cryptic so long ago if the Sons of Honor was like training her from birth and then like left her for some reason? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so.
It's kind of out there, but I just have a feeling it's something like that. But anyway, we can yeah, unless you have any other theories that you can share because you remember some stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, um,
Whatever it is, we have to figure out this book. If we don't figure out this book, I'm gonna be a little mad.
yeah, I really don't remember how that resolves itself. Um, and I really am hoping that I'm not remembering without remembering that it is formless. But I mean, it the evidence like the evidence
It's
that's been presented
it's
is
presented, but
possible.
not yeah, it's possible. I could see
So
it. It would be. I think it needs to be set up a little bit more. Like maybe she like comes to somewhere. And she's like, "How did I get here?" or whatever. But I could see it. It'd be kind of interesting. Um, but yeah, I just hope. I hope. I have a feeling Calvin's gonna do the fourth ideal and save the day when the singers attack Urithiru. That seems pretty set up. And I hope we get Shallan to be not broken anymore. Like maybe just like maybe all of her forms like meld and we just get just Shallan for like maybe at the end of like part 3 or something. I hope that happens. I'm kind of tired of her being insane. Like it's cool, but it's also like crazy.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, like you said, this reading for me, I enjoyed it. It is just a lot of setup. It's basically like we walk we walk through Shadesmar and Kaladin invents therapy.
Yeah, that was cool. But
Yeah, it's cool.
we can get to
Yeah.
that chapter.
But yeah, chapter 20, the unseen court. Um this is a Shallan chapter or Radiant, a lot of it. So she is with her light weavers. We kind of pick up we get a lot of information about her like her cadre of light weavers. You get you know all the regular guys. Vatha, Red, Ishna, and all them. We get a couple more. We get Stargyle and Beryl, who is like a ex prostitute who seems interesting. They're like training, and she's like observing them. She's trying to figure out who the spy is. That's what she's kind of doing the entire reading this week. And she's trying also to figure out who to take on the journey to Shadesmar. So she's like interviewing people. Because she's like, should I take the spy and try to like draw it out, or would it be better for me to like not take the spy so I'd have trustworthy people with me? Um, and so she's like debating. Vale wants to take the person that's gonna be the spy, so they can like they you know bird in the hand and all that, figure it all out. So she kind of narrows it down to Ishna, Vatha, and Beryl and Stargyle as the most likely spies. And then she's like trying to figure it out. And they have like good. They have like an accord of like basically they have like a democracy now about how do people act. So you have to like ask to take over and stuff like that. Also now I don't think it might have been mentioned, but like their haircut changes color depending on who is in charge. Anyway, Vale like breaks the pact and says that Ishnavatha and Stargyle are gonna join, and it's like fucks everything up basically. And then she gets a strange cube that can talk between dimensions from Marays, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so like the interesting thing at the end, when Vale kind of took over about bringing, choosing who to bring, Radiant surprisingly kind of like agreed with her um, on bringing the suspected spies, like keeping them close, even though Shalon didn't want to. Um, a funny thing when they were talking with the cryptics, so it's nice to see more cryptics. I did really enjoy uh, the sketches of the cryptics, especially the one with the feet running. Um, it made me laugh. It made Jules laugh. I showed that to her, and she's like, "That looks really silly." I was like, "Yep, that's the point." But the fact that all of the cryptic sprints were like, "Yeah, my name's Pattern," and they're like, no, it's not. You need to different. Well, it is different. They're like, no, it's not different. It's pattern. They're like, but you can't see the numbers. Like, we don't look at numbers. Humans don't read numbers. So it's just like this idea that, oh yeah, they are all patterns of numbers. Um, and then like with that later on in another chapter, the cryptic Deadeye, which we'll get to and I have theories on the fact that its face doesn't move anymore, its head doesn't move. It's just the that still pattern. Whereas all the other cryptics, it just kind of morphs in and out of odd shapes and everything.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. It's good to see more cryptics. Also, the Unseen Court, which is her name of the chapter, is like what she calls her like cadre of people. I don't know if I said
Yeah,
that.
it's a name of her light weavers organization, and like there's other light weavers, and they'll have their own like she was like she didn't want to be like the Windrunners, where it was just like one person on top and everybody down. Um, like
Well,
each
like cells, like like terror cells or spy cells, where you have like a bunch of different ones with head people. Makes
right,
sense.
but they yeah, their organization is set up differently as well. Like the squires are those that haven't bonded a Spren yet. So like I'm getting that like I those have spoken the first ideal or the second ideal are still considered squires, whereas windrunners, the squires are those that are just around and have powers granted because the windrunner is around.
Yeah.
Um, The let's see, Radiant or Shallan is the master light weaver, while all the others are agent light weavers. Um, and those are the ones that have bonded Spren. So yeah, fun, uh, fun spy stuff. I know you're a fan of the spy fantasy genre. Um, was it Brent Weeks that you read before?
Yeah, I read some of his stuff.
And
Um,
then The Gentleman Bastards is kind of like spy type fantasy.
More thieving, but kind of the same thing. It's pretty good. It could be a decent if we want to branch out from Cosmere. I've only read the first one
Oh, of Gentleman Bastards.
of Gentleman Bastards.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
series isn't done either, so
no, it's probably never will be either. I know.
just like the King the Chronicles,
Yeah, I know.
Thunder, Ice, and Fire.
Yeah, we need to get our authors to finish series, make shorter ones.
I mean, Mistborn is also another one of those spy thieving um, heist fantasy series. So,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
but
all right, other little things that I took notes of here. I mean, I did mention I took this note, but it's proven wrong later. That the introduction of the box kind of disproved my theory that a Spren sent the span read message to Navani. However, that's disproven. Um, but maybe a human was sending the message. We still haven't fully figured out where that Spren is. Um,
yeah,
that's sending Navani the message. But
I'm curious where that's gonna go. Do you think it's the sibling?
yeah, things are pointing towards that. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that seems like it's probably the obvious like thing.
and the thing is, there's so many mysteries in this book that they can't all not be the obvious thing.
Yeah,
Like, if everyone was not the obvious thing, then it would be like, okay, why are things being set up to lead us every fucking time down a rabbit hole, and then it's like bait and switch all the time. So
yeah, and also it being the sibling isn't the interesting thing. It's like, okay, the sibling is thought to be dead. If it's still alive, it's just like hiding or something. So it's still like really interesting if it is a sibling, but that's the only one that really makes sense that we have set up for it. So I don't think it's like shot a nod or anything like that.
no, I don't think
And
so
it's
either.
distrustful of like the honor spread, and you know, it was like a cousin or something of like the Stormfather. I could see it, being distrustful and that. So I like it.
Yeah, and then Ishna. So I like the description of her cryptic hanging out like on her hair spike.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the mention of the hair spikes made me think of Cat Swain in Wheel of Time and how her hair ornaments were special. So I have a theory that I'm not fully committed to, but it's a possibility that the hair spikes, Ishna's hair spikes, could be the poison weapons that killed Iole.
That'd be kind of cool.
So maybe, Ishna still is the spy.
Could be. Could be. Yeah, it's all fun. All right, you ready to move on?
Yeah,
All
let's.
right. Chapter 21, The Seething Knot. Um, this is an Adolin chapter. Adolin is taking forever to figure out his clothing situation. It's pretty funny. He's going on. Sean's like, all right, you need like 30 minutes. He's like, she's like, we're gonna take like an hour. And he's like, all right, thanks. He's trying to figure it out. He ends up choosing like this uniform they had commissioned like 4 years ago. It's kind of like the Colin style, but like sleeker, and his father hated it, so it's kind of funny. I do like how Adolin, we know that Adolin, everybody, because of the published book, know that his father killed his mom, and he like still hasn't really forgiven him yet, which I really like. It's very realistic. Um, yes. Then he goes because Aelin's a bro. He goes to see Kaladin, and he's like, "Hey, Kaladin, all these light-eyed women are just like seeing you for they're like have like these little aches and pains." And he's like, yeah, it's really weird. We just get a lot of light-eyed women. He's like, Kaladin, take a hint. You're the most eligible bachelor now.
Yeah, you're the Roshar's most eligible
You're a
bachelor.
bachelor.
Like, oh wait, you're right. All right.
Then he gives Kaladin a coin that may or may not be useful. I don't remember Warbringers. I don't know if it was actually in there from Xyle, which had like two sides. Um, which do you remember it from Warbringer?
I don't remember this being something in Warbringer, um, which doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but it could be a more subtle, like, I'm not telling you exactly what this thing is, but um, just like when Nightblood was introduced, it was introduced not by the name Nightblood, but just a sword that had black smoke and talked.
Yeah,
So if you knew that, if you remembered the description of Nightblood, then you could piece the two together.
yeah.
But like the coin, I don't
Like,
remember it being anything, but
yeah, I don't know if it's like a magic item or something, or if it's just like something cool. But it seemed a little
I,
too important to be a.
I think it's more um, so the fact that um,
Like it had a good
are we
message.
free? Uh, are we? Am I okay to give spoilers for Warbreaker?
Sure.
Okay.
If you don't want to spoil War for Warbreaker, skip like a minute.
Okay. So the fact that Zio was one of the five scholars and um, was one of the first people to be an awakener in Warbreaker. So he was the original king. The fact that the coin says war is the last option of the state that has failed, but it is better than having no option. So um, he realized that he didn't want to be at war because he had created that gigantic army and made them statues. So all the statues that are in that main city are his hidden awakened army that had been turned to stone. And he did that because he saw that having that much power in war was a bad thing. So I think that coin is just to relate back to the growth that Zyle had and passing on that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it has a good message. So maybe it's just the message. As for like Kaladin, you know, eventually he's gonna have to go back because it's better than getting slaughtered by the people invading Earthera. So could just be a little bit of foreshadowing, but also could be a magic coin or something, a awakened coin.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a weekend, but yeah, maybe there's some kind of connection, just like the kind of like the coin that Moraine gave the boys in book one of Wheel of Time,
Yeah,
where you can like tell where they are.
yeah, we shall see. So yeah, then we go. He's at the Oath Gate. As they're fixing to
But Syl, before we get there, Syl gives Adolin another warning, or a warning about honor sprint and how they act more on their interpretations of feelings of morality rather than a set law.
yeah.
So kind of just trying to help prepare him for his encounter with the honor sprint.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. We shall see that. Hopefully next week. They'll meet up. I'm guessing, since they're right at the edge of the fortress.
It'd be very weird if they did not enter lasting integrity before the end of part two.
It would be, but you never know with Brandon Sanderson. Maybe they get jumped by those people following them. But yeah,
Maybe
so
maybe they fall into the spiritual realm and like,
yeah,
okay, here's a side quest.
here's a side quest. So we have Adolin. He's like preparing going to Shadesmar. He's got like all sorts of swords. It's really funny. He's like a sword fanboy, um, and people kind of make fun of him about it. But he's like, yeah, no, all these swords are fucking badass. This one is really good at piercing, and this one's really good at blocking and all that stuff. It's
This one's
fun.
good for horseback fighting, and the curve of it makes it easier to pull out of a person.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, you got to learn that secret tech.
This comes back later too, so
Yeah. Um, we have Dalinar's regimes going gallant. Um, Aowen's been spending a lot of time with him. We saw in previous books, but seem to have formed like a secondary bond. Because Dalinar's too busy to go riding. He's not riding off a battle, even though it's kind of weird that Dalinar's going to war and he's not taking his horse. So I wonder if the bond is actually broken from uh, Galen.
well, we know that Stormfather forbid Dalinar to have a sword.
Yeah, that's because they're dead, right? I don't think it would stop it from.
So, but I also know that Dalinar is more of the diplomat these days and just a general for strategy as opposed to being in the front lines.
But he's going to be open up the perpendicularity,
Yeah, that too.
so
Uh,
he will be in the front lines.
yeah, but I think they want to protect him a little bit more. And we see that too with whenever they leave
Yeah.
Urithiru.
Yeah, I just kind of thought about that yeah, because it makes sense if Dalinar wasn't going into war to send the the horse with Adon and stuff, but he is going into war, so it's interesting. One thing to note that's really interesting is shard plate does not go into Shadesmar because it just like stays there. Um Adon is trying to bring his because his sword's special, so maybe his shard plate is special as well, but not the case as we find out. We get a little more stuff with the different radiants. We get Zoo. Um, she's cool. We get the new uh Edge Dancer Godike, who seems interesting, and we also get the Stump. We don't get too much with her in this thing. We get her real name, but she's cool. Edge Dancer callbacks. Since we're not getting lift, which is a little sad.
And her Spren is the one that uh, translates for her,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, so Stump is from Aesir, and she doesn't speak Alethi very well, but her Spren translates for her.
yes. And she's a truth watcher, right? Yeah,
Yes, she is a truth.
she's a real truth watcher, unlike Renard. We also we get more we get to meet Yasna and Taravangian, seeing
And
them
Wit.
off and Wit. Yeah. Yeah, we get some scene with Dalinar and Adolin. They're still kind of awkward with each other. Don't really know. I have not made up for Dalinar's like wanting him to prove himself and all that stuff. It's and he also wants Adolin to become a Radiant, and Adolin, he doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to abandon his sword. He was going to become a Radiant, so
This
still gonna.
reminds me of the conversation that Rock had with Renarin about it being okay to be who you are and want to be. even if that's what others want you to be.
Yeah.
Um, and it's cool to me that it's Renarin's brother, that it's the same thing's happening to them. So it's like almost like it's something from their upbringing, right? Like they're expected, being the son of the Blackthorn, you're expected to be a certain thing. Um,
Yeah, it's like, kind of like if you have like a famous fight, like I think kind of like LeBron James as a kid, he kind of like had to go into basketball because a lot of like those athletes, even though they're never as almost never as good as like their parents, they still like try. That's kind of what they're expected to do, and a lot of them fail and like then pursue other stuff, which is like their true calling, but they at least try. So it's interesting to see that how like the father's gravity kind of just like pulls you into a direction so you kind of break free of it.
like Shader Sanders, Dion's.
Yeah, yeah.
What's he gonna be? He was he was playing in the bowl game last night, and like they were losing badly, and he was still playing in at the end of the fourth quarter. He got hit hard and was like on the ground for a while, stood up, and then came in back in the next play. I was like, "What are you like? You're going to the NFL next year. What? Why are you doing this to yourself?"
Yeah,
So
like it can work out, but a lot of times it doesn't. A lot of times they're not nearly as good as their parents. So it's interesting. Even though Adolin is a better duelist than Dalinar.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it's a fun, more setup. It's interesting that they have to go inside the control room. They can't to get in the shades bar. For some reason, you can't pop out from just on the platform itself.
yeah. Did you pick up on anything like I think the pattern is possibly helping Wit like with his cryptic sprint? Because it was mentioned in this chapter that Pattern was spending a lot of time with Wit, and and we know at the end of last book, Wit enticed a cryptic Spren off the wall in Kolinar with some juicy lies. Um, so I'm wondering if like that cryptic Spren could be like one of Pattern's children.
Maybe
Did you pick up any of that in this chapter?
not really.
Yeah, I was like, there was some mention of it, and I can't remember what it was, and I feel like I would spend too much time trying to find it.
Yeah, I mean, wit. I mean, kind of waiting for more like wit. Hopefully, like um, because the weirdest thing is like he's been the most present he's been in any of these books, but he hasn't done anything, which is interesting.
Yeah, he is around quite a bit. Um,
But I don't know. I still don't even really understand the ending of the last book. I don't even know if the cryptic's still there or whatever. I mean,
I'm sure he still has him because
if if it is if it is your theory that it's Elikar's soul or whatever, then him with Yasna makes sense.
uh what Wit?
Yeah, if the cryptic is like Elikar's cryptic or his soul or whatever you were talking about, then it makes sense that Wit would be with Yasna trying to like make a new body or I don't know. If they're not, having an affair, which I don't think that's what's happening.
You don't think Wit and Yasna are having an affair? They're not.
No,
You're not
I
shipping
guess
them together?
no. I see them uh, using that to mask something else. I mean, I guess it could, but it's like hardly a character, so I don't really see him having those interests. but maybe it does.
I'm trying to find it because there was totally a mention. Um,
Would it be this chapter?
it would be this chapter because I made a note of it here. I made a note of it in this chapter. Um, like Pattern was spending time with Wit, trying to find where it's at.
Oh yeah, Shalon's no longer a ward of Yasna, which is fun. Um, I mean, we can just say that's true. I believe you. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why he would be doing that, unless it's like to teach wit, light weaving, or whatever. But he probably already knows that. But yeah, we can move on.
This is gonna bother me.
All right, I'll move on to chapter 22 while you look it up. No use talking. You can continue to look it up. This is Adolin and Shalon chapter. They bop over to Shazemar, and it's still all crazy. Um, their Adolin is like, taking account of everybody. We get to meet Maya again. He introduces her to everybody, which is very cute. Um, we get a we get a we get to meet everybody else's cryptics, dreaming through a wait and all this other crazy people. We see that the shard plate did not bop over to Shadesmar, so we get you know we get some Adolin and Gallant stuff. Oh yeah, we see that the Rashadium has like a weird after image in Shadesmar showing that it has a spread and all that fun stuff. Um, yeah, they Pattern's very happy to have feet again, just fun. Um, they like go down this giant ramp from Irithiru. Uh, we get some fun things about how space is a little different in Shadesmar. So like the descent's not actually as long as it would be in you know, the physical realm. We meet some more we get some more information. We get like Zoo. She is from the whatchamacallit. She's like she's from the God Emperor's people. But she like
Reshi
left.
Isles.
Yeah. Or no.
Oh
Yeah.
no, Tukar.
Yeah, she's from Tukar. She like left because they were being all crazy. Um it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, we got uh the Peak Spren is like cousin is gonna be the barge that they go on. They're like molten people, they look cool as shit. They're the stone warden Spren.
Oh, something in the last. I didn't find the thing with Wit and Pattern, but um, the Dust Bringers are another order of Radiance that don't follow Dalinar. We got
Yeah.
that in the last chapter. So,
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not just Mulata, but it's all of them. Though we don't know how many there are. Which makes sense if all of the Spren think like Mulata's Spren, where they hate humans and kind of just want to fuck them up. Um, yeah. Oh yeah, and then he teaches he's like grooming his Rashadium Gallant, and Maya comes over and wants to do it and kind of teaches her how to groom him. Further, foreshadowing that she's becoming more alive and is gonna pop back into the real life. And it's a really cool reveal, which I still have my theory that she's gonna turn into like a sword sprint or something other than what she was, because she's just an idea, which would be cool.
and I don't know if we mentioned it before, but she is a cultivation spread.
Yeah, she is a like
She belonged to an edge dancer.
yeah, you caught that last time with the vines and stuff. So yeah, cool stuff. And then we get a little bit of Shallan, and the cube has been moved, so there is a spy among them. Dun dun dun.
I, yeah, I took do, do, do. Took a bunch of notes about naming the types of sprint and what order they belong to. Um, so, like, I don't know if you went through all that, but Mist Spren belong to Truth Watchers. Peak Spren belong to the Stone Wards. Cultivation Spren are Edge Dancers. Ink Spren are Elts Callers. Honor Sprens are, I said Wind Callers, Wind Runners. Cryptic Spren belong to the Light Weavers. High Spren belong to the Skybreakers. Ash Spren belong to the Dustbringers. Then we have Stormfather, Sibling, and the Night Watcher, which are the Bondsmith Spren. And then the Will Shapers, we haven't seen much of, so we don't even know what kind of Spren they have.
Unless it's Finley's friend.
It could be Vinley Spren, but we know we know one of we know one of Vinley's surges now, and
We can do
we
stone
we can
stuff.
look at the thing. Yeah, she can melt stone, which is I think Stone Ward. Um, I would guess Stone Ward and Dustbringer. Um, because I think. Oh no, wait, hold on. The Miss Sprin was like the it was described as like a reflecting metal.
Yeah.
And isn't that what timber looked like?
I didn't think so. It's more like a ball of light. He says so much.
Okay, well, who was it that saw
It's
there was
what's
some there was
Misprint is
some
what Renarin
Renarin had yeah, Renarin has a misprint, but there was somebody else whose sprint was like a reflective. And maybe it was I'm remembering
that was what Renarin was supposed to look like, and that's how Yasna knew that he had like a corrupted sprint and was going to embark him.
okay.
Because we didn't have any other Truth Watchers last book.
Right.
It's because we have like a billion people now that are everything.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Um
so yeah, she could be a sprint. Um,
yeah, what is her the surge she has, we find out later. Um
It's the same thing that was made that Amaram used to make Kaladin sink to the ground last book, and it's what
yeah,
there's
cohesion.
yeah it's what there's
Cohesion is the bond or rather,
yeah
yeah.
it's what those fused are using like flow through the ground and
Yeah, that was a really fun description when we get to that chapter.
yeah.
Um, and then the last note I had, it's really a question, is like, what's going on in Shinovar that has the Spren so worried? Because, yeah, Shinovar is a shady place right now.
Yes, it is.
They have what almost all of the honor blades right now.
Yeah, they're missing
Two.
two. Yeah, because we have yes, it's Seth's honor blade, who Moash has, and then it's is that it? Because Talon didn't come with an honor blade. Came back. So I don't know where his is.
I thought Amaram had one.
He had no, he didn't have. Did he? Yeah, yeah, he had. Who did
Thought he
he
had
have?
Talonet's blade,
That might be right. Yeah, he had two
which
blades.
Dalinar has now, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, Moash has the Windrunner blade,
yeah.
and Dalinar has Talonet's blade.
Yeah.
So the Shin have 8 honor
Eight.
blades.
Yeah.
And whoever has them, a lot of the Shin are versed in the surges. So
Yeah. And it's interesting that whatever is in Shin is also affecting Shadesmar. So I don't know if they have like Shin in Shadesmar that are like doing something or I mean the thing is like Shin has to be the place it's the place where where humans first pop through, right?
I think that's where it is the place that they were granted to live whenever
Yeah.
they came. So I don't know if that's where they came through and arrived on Roshar, but it was where the listeners, it was the land the listeners granted to humans to live.
Yeah. For some reason I thought that's where they pop through, but that's probably just my head canon.
It could be. I
Yeah.
just remember that it's where they were granted to live.
Yeah. I'm really interested in Shin. I hope we get through this book. I don't know if we will.
I don't. I don't feel like we will either.
Because like
Feel
this
like
all
for sure next book, since it's like
yeah,
Seth's flashbacks, and it's got to be like we already know Seth's crusade is to go to Shinovar and make everybody that forced him to kill people pay. So that's how he's going to achieve his next ideal. Um,
oh, we also I don't think it's this chapter, but we do learn that Yasna has won the fourth ideal, which is interesting.
yeah, I think she's the only one that they
Yes,
know of for
that
sure
they
that
know
has
of.
sworn the fourth ideal.
Yeah.
But all the good it does for us because we don't know what it granted her.
We don't know any of her oaths either, which is kind of annoying.
Right? And we don't know any other else scholars, do we?
No.
But we
No,
also
maybe
know that the Inkspren, even though they don't get along with the Honor Spren, they are wary of bonding humans just as well as the Honor Spren are. So
yeah.
probably the reason why we haven't seen many Elf scholars.
Yeah. And teleportation is OP, so he doesn't want to have a bunch of people have it. Um yeah, it's fun stuff. Yeah, it's good being in Shadesmar. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna get to Shin this book. We're probably gonna get like, the offensive and then like Terravenge and stuff. I don't know if that's enough for this book. And we're gonna get the Irithiru attack. There probably is gonna be something else that's gonna be surprising, hopefully. Um, kind of like how the Battle of Thalen City was like not foreshadowed at all really until part three or something. And it was like the biggest thing ever. So there'll probably be something like that.
Yeah, you were like, after the Battle of Kolinar, you're like, well, I mean, that's the big battle, so there's probably not going to be another battle. It's like, bam,
Bam.
bitches. Like, this
Yeah.
is like 4 times as big as the Battle of Kolinar. And yeah, there you go. All right. So I ended up finding where what made me think that Pattern was hanging out with Wit. Um, it was in the first POV section of chapter 21. And Shalon says Patterns run off to say goodbye to Wit for some reason. Said it was very important, but I suspect that he's misunderstood some joke Wit made. Other than waiting on him, everything is ready. So, like, to me that implied that there's some relationship between Pattern and Wit.
Yeah, I could see that. I remember that now.
And then couple that with the fact that Wit found a cryptic on the wall and enticed it with juicy lies at the end of last book makes me think there's some type of like Wit's trying to learn more from Pattern, and Pattern is happy. Um, and then just conjecture that maybe that cryptic sprint, since it seemed really young to me, um, was Pattern's child or something.
I guess we'll have to see it in an interlude or maybe something.
Yeah.
Whenever Wit deigns to appear.
Or another book.
Or another book.
It's like, hey, here's my spren pattern.
He's like, "What's up?" Yeah, that's interesting. I have to keep a lookout. Um, we'll have to see if they even interact again with this book, depending on how long they're in Shadesmar.
Yeah.
But yeah, chapter 23, Binding Wounds. This is a Kaladin POV. So he is he's being a surgeon, helping out people, mostly kind of less serious wounds because the serious ones go get magical healing. Um, you know, he's yeah, it's fun. Syl becomes his like reader. He can like move the pages because she can move little things. So he doesn't really need a woman to read to him, even though he has not learned from Dalinar's thing to actually learn how to read yet. So he's still doing stuff.
Yeah, I thought it
Uh
was funny. It was like, when did you learn to read? I learned last week. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Uh we get some stuff where like Syl is like seems to be also kind of depressed too, which is interesting. Um, you know, he yeah, he's just trying to keep with his new routine and stuff. And then we get Teft, who has decided to go into retirement as well and help Kaladin out so he won't be so alone. You really get the sense that he's kind of doing it to help out Kaladin more than like he has to do it, even though Teft has his own issues.
Yeah, and it's really interesting here that Teft mentions that his brain is messed up. And then later on we do see Kaladin basically becoming uh, a psychotherapist. Um, so and we know that Teft had issues with addiction, probably still has issues with addiction, and addiction in the real world tends to fall under the realm of psychotherapy, psychoses, and things like that, a disorder of the brain. Um, so I like we'll get there later. There's not much in this
Yeah.
chapter to
The end is they're gonna go find a missing person.
yes, which is like Malin or
Something like that.
Mill. Yeah. Well, no, not Mill. Yeah, somebody's uncle.
Yeah,
It's somebody's uncle. They're gonna go find him. Um,
we get his name next chapter.
yeah, or the next chapter with
With
Kaladin.
Kaladin, yeah.
This is the chapter where it's mentioned that Yasna has reached the fourth ideal, and that's
Does that mean she has been shown to have shard plate? How would they know? Or she just like said, "I have the fourth ideal."
I don't know.
Is it kind of it's a little disappointing that like we don't see her first time like put on the shard plate and like, oh no, she has the fourth ideal. That would have been a cool reveal. I don't really see what the
Yeah, but it tracks with Yasna and most of her stuff being mysterious. Because I don't even know if I don't even know if the reveal in book three of what the Dawn chant translation was. I don't even know if that's the secret she knew that would
or everybody
like
were.
everybody would not be able to handle, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know if that's that same secret. There's so much about Yasna that's just mysterious, and this keeps with that. I think like, she knows too much. Have we had POVs with Yasna?
I think last book we did.
Yeah, we definitely did in the battle. So,
And then we had she was the prologue character last book too.
Oh yeah.
We
Um,
haven't had too many.
yeah, we haven't had too many, and I think she was preoccupied with shit on the ones where she was the POV. But I think she knows a way more than like Sanderson is comfortable with giving us at this moment, just for storytelling purposes.
Yeah.
It's not where he wants it revealed yet, um, which I think he does a really good job of like revealing things at certain points.
Yeah. Can be a little frustrating sometimes with the pace, but he does a generally good job.
It is frustrating sometimes because there's a lot of times I like where I'm waiting for something and then I get like he'll give us a huge exposition on something else and I'm like, okay, that was really fucking cool, but I need this over here. Like this is what I'm looking for. Like this is not what I was looking for. I want this. This is cool, but give me this.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, we've been getting progressively more, but like it's nice to know what the Ghost Bloods are about. And so even though we don't really know because we don't, we don't even we don't know who like Thadakar is and stuff like that. And like even what planet they're from, or if they're from like all the planets or like a coalition of people or stuff. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's cool. I really hope we get more of her next book. Like, I could see next book since it's like basically the end of this saga, her being more of a POV character.
Yeah, I think we'll get a whole lot of extra information next book.
You should. Yeah, I'm assuming next book is going to be the end of like the Odium saga. Um, Maybe Seth will show up because he's being written to.
Yeah.
That's what I don't know if you want to talk. Well, maybe we usually talk next thing about the epigraphs, but we get another letter. I really want a interlude with just this beleaguered intergalaxy mailman that's just going back and forth delivering these letters to people. Just like, oh, I have to go back to Roshar. God damn it.
And
Ugh.
you should recognize who the author of the letter on these epigraphs
Yeah,
is.
it's Seth. Yeah,
No, not Seth.
Dazeth, whatever.
It says it.
Dazeth, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude from Mistborn.
Yeah, the guy from Mistborn.
Very,
Uh,
very interesting. But yeah, so Cowden's starting his new profession. Yeah. It's kind of that chapter. Chapter 24. We get a Shalon chapter. They are in Shadesmar still. So they will be for the rest of this thing. They are on the barge because they last chapter they found the barge. They're basically they're going on the barge and then they're gonna get close enough to where they can walk to the the fortress
Fortress of Lasting Integrity.
lasting integrity, where they're gonna meet the honor thing because like they have a thing in here of like what route they're gonna do and they choose that one. It seems like the best one and the safest. Yeah. So a lot of this is like trying to uh figure out some is this a yeah, they're like talking with people. We get yeah, they're let's see. Yes,
Shallan's uh starts out with Shallan's personas having problems.
yeah.
Vale is punished for violating the compact. Shallan is very tired from trying to be happy. So Radiant right now is the one in charge.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're she's looking through the book that Ili had.
Yes.
And we get that the Ghost Bloods were trying to get a spren named Bado Mishram, which is the one that was captured, which sucked the minds out of the Pershindi, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it stole the minds of the ancient singers.
yeah. But it was an unmade that was able to like keep granting powers after Odium was gone. So they want that. So that's interesting. I wonder why they want that. Um, but yeah. Yeah, Shalon is being insane. She's like, yeah, with Vale, they're punishing Vale, but it's getting all crazy. I like that they try to basically get Shalon to take control by like drawing really badly, and she's like, no, I hate you. I mean,
They continue to do that.
yeah,
Like Bale's like, look, I made Drew Adolin with buck teeth.
yeah, it's funny. Um, yeah, so we get a little bit more formless and like, what's that gonna be? All the crazy stuff. Then we get some Adolin POV. No wait, we don't. We get still Shalon, but Adolin goes and brings her food. They talk. Adolin is kind of worried about the mission because the honor sprint are kind of ornery, and then she tells him that she robbed Yasna, which is kind of crazy that she never told him this before, but whatever. And I like how he's like, oh, you must have actually done it because Yasna never said anything about it. So she didn't want anybody to know that you robbed her, which is funny. Um, yeah, then let's see. Get some more just more kind of fun banter. We get more about like the Sprins. We get like dreaming through a wake, and we get like all their like that was a misprint, I think. They look all crazy. Um,
Yes. Dreaming
yeah,
through a wake as I miss Spring.
yeah. Um, yeah, we get she tried to ask more about Badu Mishram, but the sprint she was not even born when it was sealed away. So very interesting.
Yeah, she told her to go ask the heralds questions.
Yes.
Um, and then like at the end, Shalon's like, I need to unravel everything without unraveling myself. Uh,
Yep.
but yeah, Shalon and Adolin jumps in on the pun exchange with Shalon there, saying that uh, Shalon has to be a good thief because she stole his heart. Uh,
Yep.
and then she comes back with a couple of puns. So I'm sure Chris was in heaven
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Out.
And like out, there's not much to this chapter. This is where we find out Shalon starts drawing the male and female versions of each Radiant Sprin, um, which coincides with all the drawings in throughout this book.
Yeah.
So
Is this the part where like all the patterns were like looking over her shoulder, buzzing, and it was really funny? And she's like, "Stop it!" That might be next or a couple of chapters from now.
I didn't make any notes of that, but
That does happen when she's drawing one of these. I don't know if it's this part, but
yeah, it does have it. That was funny. This is the chapter where I started to just take note of all the shards and names, and I actually only have, was it? I only have 14 written down. There's a total of 16, so there's two which I don't know, and then of course the author of the letter and the epigraphs also mentioned that there are others hidden to him, but most of these I picked up from his
photographs.
letter. So we got Odium. We have Honor, who is dead, killed by Odium. We have Cultivation, all three on Roshar. We have Ruin and Preservation, which we know are on Scadrial in Mistborn. We have Autonomy, Endowment, Invention, Whimsy, Mercy, Valor. Then we get Devotion, Dominion, and Ambition. and all three of those are dead as well. So Honor or Odium has killed four of the other shards, and that kind of lines up with what he's saying about it's like the it fits with what I said last time, where Taravangian ends up holding all the shards of Odium, Honor, and Cultivation, um, because once a person is holding multiple shards, they start to blend the powers and change them. And so like Odium doesn't want that. He wants to continue to be his emo self and be destructive, and he doesn't want to be changed. Um, which is why he's splintering or killing all of the other shards. Um, so that's why I kind of think somebody has to hold him as well as another shard, and that's how you kind of defeat Odium. Um,
Maybe. Yeah, I can see that.
because we've already seen in other books, two shards being held by a person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we shall move on.
We shall move on. Yeah. Yeah, I like your idea of Terra Ranger. I don't think it will be him, but we shall see. I think he's gonna die this book, but maybe not. Could be a red herring thing. We could move on to chapter 25, Devotee of Mercy. Um, we get the name of the dude. It's Noril.
Yeah,
That's the missing guy. Teft and Kaladin are there. They go searching for him. Uh, they go around talking. They find out that he's at the Devotee of Mercy, which is like kind of like their version of like an insane asylum. Um, they go.
they treat all the patients the same by putting
Yeah,
them in dark rooms.
yeah. Yeah. They think solitary confinement doesn't drive you insane, where it's proven that it does. So basically, they go, they find him, and they're like, "What the hell? He's in solitary confinement." Guess what? I'm Calvin Stormbliss. I'm breaking these guys out. I'm making therapy now. Guess what? All your conjectures about therapy are wrong. Don't put people into solitary confinement. Peace out. That's kind of the end of it.
Yeah, I took way more notes, but I mean that's essentially what it is. I It was hilarious when they show up and like, hey, we're looking for so and so, and the Ardent's like, I can't reveal patient information without authorization of a Bright Lord of at least third dawn. And then Teft is like, shunk, Shardblade. He goes, oh, okay, you're a Knight Radiant. Let's see. Yeah, I can find that information. And then that gets him so far, and then he's like, "No, I'm not gonna do this." And then he's like, "Hey, I'm Kaladin Stormbless." He's like, "Oh shit. Okay, here's everything that you asked for."
Yeah, it was funny.
But Norrell doesn't seem. He actually seems kind of a mix mentally of Teft and Kaladin. Um, because he's broken because he lost his family in just like a brutal way. And because that happened to him, he feels like it'd be easier on everybody if he just didn't exist. He's like, well, shit, I am useless as as a man, as a protector, so there's nothing I can do except be a liability. So it'd be better if I just didn't exist. And he was
Yeah.
on suicide watch.
He also is missing an arm that will definitely grow back when he becomes a radiant.
Yeah,
Just like Lupin.
it's just like open. It They already did it once where Lopin got somebody that had no legs or arms or whatever. Was missing an appendage, and he got that guy to speak an ideal and regrow his appendage. But um, let's see. All right, notes. The Ardent's treatment actually reminds me of like some churches in real life, they like basically insist on not following science. Instead, just like rely on faith alone for the healing of ailments. It's like, no, you don't need these medicines. God will heal you. It's like, okay, having faith is fine, um, but what if God allowed humans to discover this medicine, and that's how you're healed by God?
If he created things for a reason.
Right? Uh, so it kind of reminds me of that. Like there's some I don't remember the denominations or specific religions, but like there's some where you can't have needles stuck into you, so they're like having blood drawn for lab work and stuff is not a thing, or getting any kind of shots or anything like that is just against their religion. I think there's some that don't even take like pills or medications at all. Um, but um, if you're in one of those and that's what you do, okay. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't change the fact that you're a person. So
Yeah. My favorite one of those is there was a sect way back in the day that didn't believe in like having sex, and they all I obviously all died off. And like it was like a it was one of the heretical Christian things that got one of the churches murdered. But yeah, they like didn't believe in having sex, so yeah, they all died off. But they're like they're like a big for a while, and
we don't believe in procreation. So
yeah, there's a lot of really crazy early Christian sects. If you are interested about reading about them, they're insane. And
uh,
usually they get murdered a lot because churches persecute. But like the Anabaptists and all that stuff. But anyway, that's not this book yet. So we get the
but
religious civil war of the Ardents.
yeah, it seems like that might be happening.
I kind of, not to lie, I kind of thought the Ardents and the were going to be a little bit more important than what they turned out to be so far. I'm curious. Um, I don't know. It is this part where or I think it was last part where Yasna wants to free the slaves, and that includes the Ardents, and that could like make the
Yeah,
church powerful again, which is really interesting. And yeah, so I'm curious if that's going to happen, and maybe in the next 5 books there'll be more of a factor because they're kind of just like in the background, and it's like you have a devotee that we never talk about except for Shalon for a little bit in book one. That's kind of it.
right. We get the names of some of the devotees, but not necessarily what they do. Um, the last thing I wanted to mention in this chapter is that I really thought that the Kaladin helping depressed and mentally disturbed people was an awesome like character direction to take him, and the growth that can come of that. And I'm really excited to see how like this could help him to finally speak that fourth ideal, because
Yeah,
I think this is the path for that.
yeah, definitely. And like will stick by my feelings of the first podcast of this book, where when you read it and we just react to what we've read, it was not that fun. But I do like the way Kaladin is going this book, and hopefully it will culminate into something really interesting when he saves the day at the Battle of Erethiru, and like probably part three. I don't think next week we'll be talking about the Battle of Erethiru. It sounds like a part three uh, thing, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, it's good stuff. All right, we can move on to chapter 26, a little espionage. This is a Shallan chapter. They're still on the barge. Um, this is where she's like sketching, and the cryptics like freak her out. It's really funny. Um, uh,
She's drawing Uapam.
Yeah. Uh, like how she's like, "You nitwits," like, I'm a nitwit. There are a lot of funny things on there. She's still insane, so she's whipping between like, Radiant and Veil and all that stuff. Uh, they're trying to coax her out of being insane because Shallan's been basically hiding a lot, especially since Veil took over. She like suppresses herself, so they're trying to get her to do stuff. And so so they Vale is trying to coach Shallan on how to like basically find the spy. Um yeah. They figure out that is that so they go and they basically they approach each of the three light weavers, and they end up dropping that a different a shot a not Sprin has been, she saw it, but don't tell anybody else because I don't want to figure it out. I saw a glory Sprin and a fear Sprin and blah blah blah. Um, you know, as we do this, we get some good background on all three of the people. Uh, we get some stuff with Ishna, who seems really cool. She she does the whole thing of like, I knew you're doing something. She's like, really, you knew? And then she tells that she's been giving money to her old gang, and then it turns out that they were using it to like do bad stuff, set up gambling halls and all this other stuff. So she's like, don't do that. But also, I saw this, and you know, so then we learn more about Beryl and like how her she was like a former prostitute and stuff like that. She seems really interesting.
She's a she was described as being a surge binding savant as
Yeah,
well.
she could like change her face to be whoever you want to be. Even though when you touch, it would be distracting with all the, unless it doesn't for her, which would be interesting because it like sparkles and shit when you get touched. So maybe she's doing the thing that Shallan was doing, like slightly soul casting, so where like you can touch it, doing the hard light stuff. But I don't know, that's just conjecture. Then we get some Vatha stuff, and he's like, he's able to like uh he's doing a lot of manual labor, just like kind of fit in and stuff, and then like he's yeah she's like, we're a family, Vatha. You can be all cool with us and stuff. And he's like, Radiant, what are you doing? I like how he just calls her. He's like, because Shallan's like, please, so Radiant has to take over, and she's like really terrible at being subtle. So it's pretty funny. It's good stuff all around. Basically, we get Glory Spren for Beryl, Fear Spren for
Wind Sprint for Ishna, Glory
Ish,
Sprint for Beryl,
and
and
Fear Spren.
Fierce Sprint for Vatha.
Yes. So yeah, that's kind of it. There's a lot of other stuff that you can probably get into, but it's a fun chapter.
Yep. Lots of fun stuff. Like you said, um the four the four cryptics together, watching her draw and freaking her out, and you know, Pattern comes up and he's like apologizes for other cryptics' excitement. Uh, admits he's famous for studying humans. Like Shalana was like, I thought y'all studied humans. He's like, I studied humans. The other cryptics haven't had much time around humans, so they're like, oh my God, this is like craziness. I'm gonna buzz all over you. And let's see. The I really thought the manifesting bit was very interesting and kind of like, that's one of the crafts um crafting skills that Sprin can have. Like you could be judged on how well you manifest an object into Shadesmar. Um, and I wonder if, and when I was reading this, I was like, you know what? Wendell was famous for discovering chairs. So I wonder if he was the first one to manifest chairs into Shadesmar, um, and then have Sprin start sitting in chairs because maybe they didn't, sit in chairs
Mhm.
before. Maybe all of these Sprin types didn't look like humans because we know we touch on that later too with Notum's uh, steed, and he's like, "Hey, not all Sprin were imagined by humans." And it's like, "Oh, okay. So, what was this? A Rashadium thought about this horse? Is this a Sprin of a Rashadium that Notum is riding?" So it's like just this cool thing about how they're not concrete and they can change their shapes over time based on people's perceptions of them. Um, and then the fact that they can pull in, they can manifest these real world objects into Shadesmar without affecting them in the physical realm. But how well they manifest it determines how long they're going to stay in the thing. And I thought it was funny later on when they at the market where there's just these barrels full of like these awesome swords. And it's like all these masterwork swords are just sitting in a barrel, and like, yeah, you can buy as many as you want. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, they probably don't last long. Like Aiden's like, yeah, they probably won't last, but maybe a day or so. And then they'll disappear because they're not connected again.
Yeah, and they also they said like it takes like the same amount of stormlight, so it's like yeah, like if even though this is like a really ridiculously good sword, it, like doesn't cost that much to do. So here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Um. Oh, Formless is a male persona. Um, just a note I took. And then Shalon brings up, we touched on this before. I think I mentioned it, how funny it is that the cryptics are great at math, but they end up with the light weavers who are good at art and lying. And Pattern has a great response. He's like, art is math. And Shalon's like, what are you talking about? Like, art is not math. But at the same time, it's like, okay, fractals and things are artistic and nature is artistic and kind of follows some type of mathematical thing. Um,
Yeah,
but still very, very interesting that a lot of these, I wonder how much some of these things uh, were originally in the writing from Brandon Sanderson versus what he put into it after hearing back from alpha and beta readers. And they're like, "Hey, this it's kind of weird here." It's like, "Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I really like what's going on here, so let me make this a conversation about how it is."
I can see that. Um, yeah, it's fun. More character building. A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the section is just character work.
Yeah, most of this entire reading was a lot of character building. Very, very little action.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, I enjoy character work and stuff. I'm a little sad that Lift didn't go on this journey. I would have liked more with her, especially since the Edge Dancer really hasn't done anything yet. Um, like we get a decent amount with Zoo, who seems interesting, but I don't know. It's weird that
There's
it's weird that she hasn't done anything this book.
who?
Lift.
Oh yeah. Um
Maybe she's with Downer and them, and she'll do stuff in the battle, or maybe she's at still at Erethu. I don't know, but you know, she had her own novella, and she was pretty prominent in the last book. Just have her have nothing is a little strange.
oh
Because
there was
We've had more of the stump than we had of lift.
Right. I'm trying to find it here. There was something that I was going to mention in chapter 22, but apparently I didn't make a note of it, but I was like, I remember thinking it. So whenever they go through to Shadesmar, um, where is it? Um, do, 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 do. There was something Adolin noticed. Um,
About what?
about the tower and what was underneath the tower. Uh,
There's more guards.
yeah, I don't think they're guards.
You think it's the
I
singers?
I think it's singers waiting.
I
Um,
don't. Yeah, I mean, it would be weird with the timeline. Like all the Vinley stuff is way before this, but it could be.
yeah, but he saw a whole bunch down, and he's like,
Oh, I don't think it's that because he would be able to see the fuse right when they look weird.
but there's more singers. Like there's singers. Um, trying to figure out where is it? Do, do, do. But yeah, I thought it for sure it was like singers that were moving through those tunnels because they found out about the tunnels
Yeah,
before. Obvious, they had to have somebody find out about the tunnels before they went back and brought the whole invading crew. That's
but
going.
I assume that the fuse already knew about the tunnels because they've been fighting for thousands of years. They just couldn't do anything because of the sibling things sapping their powers.
Yeah.
It could be the singers, but I don't think the timelines match up unless all the Vinley stuff is like way before all this.
No, they're concurrent, but yeah, it should be right fucking here, but it's not.
It's when it's when they're leaving. They're heading down the ramp. That's like not quite as steep or as long as it should be in the real world.
Oh yeah, here we go. Do, do, do. All right. All things in Roshar manifested as Shadesmar. Most objects became beads, while living people and animals became little flames of light like the ones he'd seen above. They passed some of those as they walked, hovering off in the distance. Aiden assumed those were the guards who watched over the complex of tunnels and caverns beneath the year through. Indeed, there were more lights than he'd expected. Aunt Navani must have gotten her wish to have the caverns better guarded. So I don't think I think it's probably like some scout groups of listeners.
Possibly.
Um, I don't think it's guards. I don't think they have enough guards down there. So
Yeah. I don't know if listeners look different in Shadesmar or because they have a gym part. I don't know, but yeah, I mean it's possible. I just took it that like maybe there will be a bigger fight, which will be fun. In you know 10 chapters or whatever. But we can move on. Let's see anything else.
nope.
All right,
Banners.
banners. This is the first Navani chapter. So Dalinar, she's with Dalinar. She's gonna stay behind here through, and they're going to do the offensive with like Taravangian. They're all like, "Watch out, he's definitely gonna betray us." And Dalinar's like, "Yep, that's why I put him kind of off in his own little section to where like if he does betray us, it's not gonna hurt us too bad." which is very smart. Um, so yeah, then she has a talk with Sabarial, um, and they want to get the war camp and the Shatter Plains back, under control since Allies died and stuff. We need to do all that. And then they find this like hidden room in Eritrea that's been sealed off by like a wall just sealed up. So they get a stone ward to just like zap it out, and they find this like hidden little compartment that has like a little miniature version of Eritrea, a little model. And they're like, "Ooh, this is interesting and weird. Why was it sealed up?" Uh,
Right?
they're they're a little weird. She's fixing to do stuff, and then there's a blinking on the span read, and uh they're being contacted again. So dun dun dun. Coincidentally, when this room was discovered.
Yeah. They were all right. So this chapter, there's some interesting information in this chapter, but I found it boring and too long.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, it's,
I
it's
was reading
kind
it,
of.
I was like, I just want to get through this chapter to continue reading.
I mean, it's not. It's like 8 pages or something. It's not a long chapter. But
It was
yeah,
longer than it needed to be for the information that it gave.
sure. We
It's
get
how
some.
I felt anyway.
Yeah, we get some fun stuff with Navani and Yasna. They're like, they get to have a little powwow and talk to each other and how awkward they are. You know, but yeah, oh yeah, Elikar's son's going on the mission as well. Get some you know combat experience, just kind of watching battles as most young Alethi do.
Do you mean Elokar 2.0?
Maybe, maybe. If this little kid just looks and goes, "Mother, I am back," I'll freak out. Be really cool. I have been merged with my son. Um, I am a human fused. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't mind this chapter, but also it's kind of a little flowy nothing chapter of just kind of set up. Um, you got anything on it, or you just want to move on?
That's I said my piece on that chapter.
This is this is Brandon's most hated chapter in all of the Cosmere.
No, but I just wasn't in the mood for that chapter when I was reading it.
Fair enough. Chapter 20, Heresies. This is another um Navani chapter. Um, uh, this one, they're talking with the Spren and Syndom stuff. They're also doing this like weird thing to kind of triangulate,
Triangulation.
yeah, where it is. Um, they're you know, you get some stuff.
You weigh the basically you weigh the span read, and if it weighs pretty much the same, it means the other one is really near. But if the other one is really far, it starts to weigh more. But it's imperceptible unless you actually weigh it. So they've got these scales where they're putting the whole thing on, and like as she's communicating, they're trying to put weights on the other thing to try to even it out and be like, okay, how much does it weigh now? Oh,
So we get you must stop your experiments with Fabrials. I made it explicitly clear that you need to stop. You have not. You have only increased your heresy. What is this you do? Putting Fabrials in a pit and connecting them to the blowing of the storms? Do you make a weapon of the spren you have trapped? Do you kill? Humans always kill. So, it's something. We found out that it's inside the Eartheria, so it's somewhere. So I'm guessing it's the sibling. Um, um, yeah. Let's see. Why do you call this a heresy? The church sees no moral problems with fabrials, no more than they have problems with hitching a chole to a cart. A chole hitched to a cart is not confined to a tiny space, the reply came, the pen moving furiously animatedly. Spren are meant to be free, but capturing them you trap nature itself. Can a storm survive placed in a prison? Can a flower bloom with no sunlight? This is what you do. Your religion is incomplete. Mm. So yeah, we get some interesting things and like yeah, we
Navani has this idea, like it ends off with her like, oh, I know who the Sprint is, but
yep.
she wants it to find out the fate of the span reed.
Yeah, because she like throws it away, right?
Yeah, she accidentally dropped it and then kicked it off the cliff.
Accidentally dropped it. Yeah.
And then she's like, "Hey, have somebody recover that, but if the ruby is still intact, crack it to make it seem like it shattered when it fell." It's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, so we'll see what that's all about.
I did think it was funny that the span read or the message came back. It's like, "Hey, why did y'all move?" Like, what? What are you talking about? We didn't move.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting. Right now, it seems like both of our theories is that this is the sibling. Makes the most sense. Because I don't think it's an unmade. Um,
No, but it could have been the spren that was inside of the span read too.
yeah, but that kind of goes against what we know about the Fabrials so far. Which I mean, could maybe they're evolving or something, which it could be, which would be interesting. Um, could be the sprint that Shah not sent, but that doesn't seem correct. Sent in the that's with Marays. It doesn't seem like that's reached Marays yet, too, from what we get from him. So yeah, so I think it has to be the sibling, especially since we're obviously gonna. I mean, unless Urethra falls or something, we're probably gonna get like the restoration of Urethra by the end of maybe this part, or at least this book. So yeah, it's fun stuff though. Especially since it seems to be going against Navani's, the Fabro maker, and this one wants to stop her from doing stuff. So she'll see. Maybe she'll be able to make like better Fabrials with stuff or something. But yes, a cage without bars. This is
Otherwise,
chapter
a boat.
29. Yes. We get Adolin, we get Shalon. Um, uh, it's Adolin we start off with. We get land ho basically. We get the sight of land. Yay! Um, uh, they kind of uh, dock, but he's like, all right, we're gonna send in a bunch of light weavers to see if it's safe, even though y'all say it's safe. Um, because I'm gonna be cautious, which is smart. Um, we see Shalon is hungover because Thea likes to drink, and she forgot to burn some stormlight to not be hungover. Um, yeah,
Forgot.
yeah. Um, so yeah, there you go. They're gonna go scout it out, and then while he's doing that, he's starts a kata, and then Maya basically gets to do it perfectly because she's a sword sprint that's becoming awakened. I'm calling it now. But everybody is super freaked out about her because she's doing stuff that no Deadeye is doing because she's waking up, changing into something new. That's really cool. She's like doing it perfectly too, which is pretty sweet. And then we get Shalon. Um,
Before we move on to Shalon,
yeah,
um, it was interesting. Gadeki, so like Godeke or Gadeki or whatever, uh, like he was looking at his all of his nearly done spheres, sitting there with Adolin, and it reminded Adolin that Yasna finds it weird that most gems in circulation are so flawed that they lose their stormlight quickly. And it's as if somebody were amassing the flawless and near flawless gemstones for something.
maybe the ghost bloods that want to take Stormlight to other planets.
I mean, there's also the Thalen Merchant Guild that had like shit tons of gemstones in their vault.
True, but from what we know, that was just said. The only one that was the perfect gem was the King Drop, but it could be that they were we just that Risen just didn't know about it, and so it's possible. But yeah, that was interesting. That I do like you know you know about Maya. It's like she's a Deadeye. She was killed thousands of years ago. She doesn't think the trauma of her radiant betraying her broke her mind. Well, yeah, maybe it's wearing off. We are Spren, we are eternal. Our deaths do not merely wear off, but maybe this time it does. So yeah, it's very cool. I'm really interested. It's one of my more intriguing storylines to this is Adolin and Maya. I really like them. I really like Adolin. He's rapidly been moving up my favorite character list. He's probably like easily top three for me right now. It's been that way since probably book two.
Yeah, he's got a lot. He's got a lot to give.
Yeah, he's really fun character, especially now that he's like starting to like branch off from his dad and like find his own path and stuff. And I'm really interested to see how he's gonna make the honor sprint listen to him because I don't think he's gonna fail, but I guess we'll see. Um, yeah, Adolin's cool. Then we move on to Shalon, and Shalon is gonna go do that, but she's like, wait, I can um I can be alone and I can go contact Marays. So he she basically goes and is gonna contact Marays, but then uh patterns with her too. And she's contacts Marays, but we get cut off until the next one. She also um yeah. She also talks with Aelin and makes him like go. But yeah, she gets alone and she's gonna contact Marays, which she does.
And she knows the cube has been moved
Yeah.
again.
Yep, the cube has been moved again because she's like been taking memories and drawing them in that exact shape and order of where it is. So she knows. Um, then we get Aelin at the final POV ship. Uh, they went into uh the town. I forget the name of the town.
I don't think
Um,
they gave one.
no, they didn't. Yeah, they might get one later, but I can't remember. Yeah, they're going to town. There's a bunch of different Spren. Um, yeah, he's like trying to figure out why Shalon wanted to stay behind. He's like talking with Maya, and yeah, he's worried about her because she's insane. Um, yeah, and then uh we see that Maya has seen another Deadeye in the shop, a cryptic Deadeye that he's like you said, and she tries to go and approach it, and yeah, yeah, it's very interesting. And she releases like a little like whine and stuff, very much showing that she's waking up. She recognizes a fellow Deadeye. Um, it's and then we get the cryptic, the storyline of it. She was a friend, and then we find out that this is a new Deadeye, not one from thousands of years ago. So maybe somebody has broken their oaths, or maybe you have a theory for that. Very interesting what happened.
Yeah, so Um, and then of course, Gotake at the end of this chapter,
Yeah,
Gotake comes up and is like, "Hey, you might need to see this."
yeah.
Um,
Or some
but
human.
yeah, ends up being a band of humans that they settle on are from Tukari. Although at first they're not, and they're still not quite sure if they are from Tukari or somewhere else. Yeah, when Adolin was first observing like all the buildings and the fashions of the different Spren, he made a quick note. Is like, somebody should probably tell that Spren what a protective cup is used for. So
Yeah,
whatever was happening there, I'm sure it was funny. Um,
I imagine it was like a little hat or something.
yeah, or like a face mask.
Yeah, face man. Yeah,
Um, yeah, so the ink spren that was running the shop had said that this cryptic spren was his partner for many centuries. And then she left 10 years ago to join others hunting for radiance. And then last year, I found her like this sitting alone on an island far to the east. She insisted on coming out this direction. At least she walked this way incessantly, so I set up shop here. So, looking at the map, the islands that are far to the east are Amia, and we know about a year ago is when either the Kaza interlude was or Dawn Shard was. So um, I am theorizing that this cryptic was belonged to somebody on either one of those two missions to Amia, and um, I don't know who.
yeah,
But those details kind of line up.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't think it'd be anybody from Dawn Shard, that novel.
Ooh,
And,
excuse me.
yeah, maybe.
But a cryptic spren, so I mean, Kaza was that was the name of the interlude, but was that the name of the soulcaster?
I think so. Yeah.
So what if she wasn't a soulcaster? What if she was a lightweaver?
And she was just faking turning to smoke.
Yeah, I mean, she just betrayed her oath there. I don't know how you betray a cryptic spren oath.
Yeah, I don't know how, but yeah.
So that's the thing. I don't know how you betray that oath. So
The lie you told was actually true. You're like, no. Right, you have to say truth. The truth you said was actually a lie.
yeah, like no, I am not this. I really am not.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I don't think it's the Soulcaster, just because we saw it from her perspective. Um, yeah, I mean, all it's interesting. I
so
mean, it's not. We know it's not Ilikar's Spren because that's what we assume Wit got, and that's not far to the east, like you said.
and not an island. Kolinar is not an island.
Yeah,
And you have to think they're coming. They are already east of Urithiru at this point
yeah,
because they're heading towards Aesir. Because I think let me look at this map. Is they're leaving. I mean, they said they were following the coastline of Tukar, right?
yeah.
So yeah, we're lasting integrity.
We do have the map. I guess
Yeah.
that doesn't really help for
So
this.
lasting integrity is to the east of Urithiru. Um, and that's a whole bunch of fun stuff. I like all the little notes on that portion of the Southern Sea of Souls map is like Ageless Beauty must have been named 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, I
Uh,
wonder. I wonder if we're gonna get anything that was just kind of like a weird Easter egg.
what, Ageless Beauty? Or
No, the
on the map?
cryptic.
Oh, the cryptic? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it should be. But yeah, we're already east, or sorry, they're already west of Urithiru. And so an island far to the west of that. Let's see, they follow down. Where's this big map? So Urithiru is there. They're headed towards that's there. Okay, so lasting integrity seems like it matches up with Sessa Malik's Dar.
Okay.
Are you seeing that?
Uh, I'm not really.
Because
I mean, oh, yeah.
hold on.
I mean,
Why?
it's basically all the water is the land, which is weird.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Oh wait, no. Oh, down. That's there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got no. It's south of Tukar, so it's not Sessamalik's Dar. I think Sessamalik's Dar lines up to Oathbound Spires.
Okay.
Does that match up now?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, because that's to the northeast. I'm looking at this little that little piece there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious if that guy will come back up. But it was interesting. It's once again showing that Maya is very much different from the other Deadites and starting to you know come back to her senses. I'm guessing that's what's going to get the Honor Spring to talk to Adolin as Maya. It makes the most sense. He starts to wonder how he's going to do it in later chapters. But we can move on to chapter 30, the betrayal. We get some Marays and Vale talking with them. Um, you know, uh, we find out that Shallan has held one of these cubes before, back in her younger days, and her mind starts to break because she's a little fragile, insane person. Um, we get in the gardens. I wonder who she was talking to. Maybe Restiries or whatever. Um, yes, they're trying to remember, but she's like, no, it's too bad. Uh, she misses a lot of Marais's conversation. She has to kind of like pop back in. Um, so she gives a little she gives a status report basically that they've docked, they're going stuff. We find out that a Sprin is inside the cube, so I'm curious what Sprin that would be.
Oh, that's
Um,
what Murray says it is.
true,
But this totally could be like some other world technology.
also true. Um, yeah. We get a little bit of a hierarchy of the Ghost Bloods about how like you don't basically disobey people below you and stuff like that. You have like a respect thing. Um, and then she she kind of lays out the bait, like I've seen some Ashanat people watching me, and he is like, you know, watch out for the corrupted glory sprint. She's like, oh no, it's a barrel. I've foiled his trap. Um, yes. Um, so
He also mentions that so she asks, has anything happened? He's like, nothing unexpected. If you knew what to look for, has happened to Dalinar or the tower. So I'm like, what did he know already that was going to be happening? So, and what has happened already with Dalinar or the tower?
yeah, yeah, we shall see. Um, so yeah, then we switch over to Adolin. We find that yeah, there's a group of humans from Tukar, presumably, um, which makes sense. If the God Emperor was a herald, he would know how to get to Shadesmar. So that checks out so far. They are not. They don't want to talk to them. They're like, yeah, we're not talking to anybody. And then we meet back up with Dotum, who is the honor sprint captain from last book that like helped deviate them uh to go to Thaylen City. Um and was fighting off the fuse with Azur, who I'm curious if she's still gonna be in lasting integrity or if she's moved on.
Who?
Azur.
Oh, Azure.
That'd be
Is
cool to
that where
see.
she said she was going?
Yeah, she's going to the. That's why she stayed on the boat. But then she wanted to go to the Hornier Peaks, I think, but she was going there for some reason. I think maybe to get, uh,
Restares.
maybe, yeah. So that'd be interesting if she's still there. Um, then we get some Shalon. Um, yeah, she's trying to, she's figuring out stuff. She's like, Vale's like, that was too easy. We might be getting played. Um, you know, because our like first little trap was sprung super easy, and Murray's is too crafty for that. Um, yeah. And then Shalon, they're trying to make Shalon remember shit. Pattern's worried about her and stuff like that. Um, and yeah, we're getting more of like this formless thing is bubbling up. Uh, we'll see where that goes. Yeah, and then we get back to Aelin. They're talking about Nottam.
Now back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
Yep. He's like, yeah, we're gonna go be a diplomatic mission, um,
To Alderaan.
to Alderaan. Uh, get a little bit more Maya. She growls, which is fun. He does not. Nottam doesn't seem to think uh, that their mission's gonna work at all. And then basically he's been demoted. Um, he like been banished from the city. He has to do this like endless patrol because the honor sprint kind of suck. And yeah, but he's gonna be with them for a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of
Yes,
that.
as far as like the honor spring go, and besides the ones that have already gone off and bonded windrunners, Notum just seems to be the most reasonable one. Because he's like, you know what? Like he even asks about, he's like, hey, did y'all end up saving Dalinar? Like the reason I let y'all leave? Adolin, happily decided to go, you know what? Actually, no. He ended up saving us. Although, I think because Shallan and Kaladin showing up, he
Definitely turn the tide.
yeah, definitely turned the tide, but we didn't need to necessarily save him. Um, it was kind of like everybody saving each other. If it wasn't for all three of them, um, or technically f seven, all
Yeah.
seven of the Radiants in that fight, it wouldn't have worked. Because what we got: Yasna, Shallan, Kaladin, Dalinar, Lift, Seth. Am I missing somebody?
No, I think it's
Six.
everybody. Oh yeah, you said Yasna.
Six.
Renarin.
And Renar, yeah. So seven of them.
Yeah. Do you think Nodam's gonna bond somebody? Seems to have gotten the raw deal, but he also seems to be an honor sprint, so he's just gonna do his job forever.
I didn't think about it, but what if he is the one that bonds Relaine?
That could be cool.
Because it almost lines up um that they're kind of it seems that Notam isn't necessarily of the same mind as Syl and the other honor sprint that have gone off and bonded yet. So he feels like he made the right decision, but he's been exiled anyway. Um, and kind of matches up with Relaine, where okay, yes, he was a spy, but in the end, he made the right decision to assist the humans. But now he's still like almost exiled. Like none of the humans, except for like the Bridge Four, really accept him as one. Like
Yeah,
the other humans still have prejudice against Relaine. So they're kind of in a similar situation, and I could see them bonding over that.
I could see it
Um, so
because I do think Verlaine will get a spread.
I think he will too.
I could see it. You know, we're leaving enough people behind for the defense of Irithiru because we have Teft, we have Kaladin, of course, then we have Navani, who I think is going to probably bond with the sibling and make Irithiru work again. We'll see. And then we have Verlaine, so if he gets one and like the turns the tide of the battle, that'll be really cool. Um, yeah, it's gonna be fun. Okay, we can move on to 31, Daughter of Traitors. That's the Vinley chapter. Um, they are Vinley's with the the incursion force going to Irithiru with what's her face?
Rabonio.
Yeah, her. Uh Raboniel, and she's looking at the we get a bunch of new fuse. The Mycam Makaem.
Makayim,
Yeah, the ones
deepest
of the
ones.
yeah, the deep ones. Uh they are the ones that are like moving through the earth and shit. They look cool as hell. It's kind of her powers. Um so we get them
The
we have a
Shetel M, which basically glide like the edge dancers.
yeah, we got the edge dancers. Um so yes, they're coming up on it's like a week away to get to Aerothero, which is fun.
They've been traveling for 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, because they got dropped off because they didn't want to go too close for the Windrunners to find them.
Also, it's very interesting that we have not had a flashback chapter yet in the book.
I wonder if we are.
Yes,
Oh,
we
we are.
we are.
Oh yeah.
This is Vinley's flashback chapter book.
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, it's very interesting. We haven't gotten one yet,
Yeah. Um.
but it is a humongous book. We still have 1,000 pages.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because we've read like that's a lot, like
100.
440 pages, and not a lot has happened. I mean,
Right.
it's been good, but really not a lot has happened. We do
More
get
stuff has happened in this one than in the first 440 pages of The Way of Kings, though.
probably, yeah. Both equally kind of nothing happened at the beginning of those books.
Yeah.
Um, then we get so she's like, why nine branches of humans say 10? And she says that is human talk. They claim a tenth of honor alone. Adhesion is not a true surge, but a lie that was presented to us as one. True surges are of both honor and cultivation. Cultivation for life, honor to make the surge into natural law. Things must fall to the ground, so they create surges to make it happen. Mm. And then we get we get how the surges of cohesion works, where they can just like move through matter. Basically, it's really cool. I don't really know how you kill one of those things. I guess probably maybe a surge, a shard blade would kill it. Um, but yeah. Then she also asks like why do they serve odium if they're originally from honor and cultivation? And she's like, basically like honor and cultivation are boring. Why would you want to do that? If you just be passion and have odium, and he's the coolest. And she's
And he
like, all right,
rewards you for it.
yeah,
Like, okay.
yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. And then it's like a week they would arrive at Erythrea. Then the real test would come. And she betrays everybody and joins the nice reading.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we gotta yeah,
Rabonio basically kind of figures out that Vinley is spying on her for Leshwi,
yeah,
but just kind of runs with it like, all right, well, I'm not afraid, basically.
yeah.
It's like, y'all can't do shit to me. I've been around for so long. But then after Vinley asks those questions of Raboniel and Raboniel leaves, another singer, Rothan, comes who's like on the same level. He's a regal, um, and he's underneath Leshwi and kind of on the same level. He comes up as like, you might not want to ask too many questions of the fused because you're pretty useful to Leshwi, and if you start asking too many questions of the fused, you'll end up being killed. Um, and ultimately, Vinley is like, you know what? I like this Rothan guy. It'd be really good to have him on my side, but I can't. It's too risky right now to bring
Yeah.
that up.
He seems like maybe a little bit of a fanatic, so I don't know about that. Yeah, the few suck. So
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Raboniel here refers to Vinley as daughter of traitors. So yeah.
just the singers used to be traitors. It's their whole thing. But that is how they escaped getting their minds wiped, so jokes on everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is kind of a bullshit explanation. It's like, you know what? Look, our surges come from cultivation and honor. Anything outside of that is false. But we serve odium because it's exciting. I'm like, okay, that makes no sense.
But isn't the storm form that's an odium surge, right? Or is that not a surge for some reason?
I don't think the forms of power are surges.
They're basically surges. I can shoot.
Basic.
I can shoot lightning. That's basically a surge. The surge
Yes.
of lightning.
Yeah. I think those are powers granted by the Void Spren, which are of odium. So like the humans, I don't think have access to those.
Yeah, but yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, we get a little bit of a foreshadowing that the battle is going to happen, and it should be hopefully really cool. We can move on to chapter 32 of Three Minds. Dun, dun, dun. It's the Aelin and Shallan chapter. They are in the caravan. They're moving towards the fortress still. The two car people are trailing them. They have been for basically the entire journey. A little ominously. Um, they're like, this is gonna probably be bad. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Um,
I
then
like that Zoo was like, should we go confront them? And he's like, what, 2 on 20? And she's like, well, one person can do all this types of things. Like, oh yeah. Hmm. And he starts
yeah,
to think, it's like, maybe we should do that.
yeah,
Nah.
because also their stormlight's starting to run out. So if they wanted to actually, use superpowers, yeah, their time is a little capped on that.
Right.
Yeah. Um. Then then we move to Shallan. Um. Shallan's trying to get more out of Beryl to kind of confirm that she's the spy because Vale kind of put in the mind that it could be just like a ruse from Marays. So we get more stuff. She gets some tips on light weaving. Apparently, Beryl can only do like her own features, but she can't really do anything beyond that. And then we get some interesting thoughts like Vatha does it by thinking like a rock somehow, and he can like do stuff like that. So it seems like every light weaver has a different method of doing their weavings, which is cool. It the talk kind of very much puts doubt, and you know Shallan's very much not really knowing how to uh
Continue.
continue. Basically, she's like and she's like getting all freaked out because you know she's like, damn, the new girl was a spy. I could have handled that, but now it could be two people I knew. She freaks out because she's insane. Um, and they're freaking out. And then Aelin comes. Um, uh, yeah, he's trying to figure out different arguments to get the honor spread on their side because he's like, I don't think these ones from Yaz and them they're like kind of too predictable. Like they've had thousands of years to think of arguments and stuff, so I need to kind of figure something out. And he's trying to talk with her about that. And yeah, yeah. Then he basically has like a thing of like, all right, tell Shallan that I love her and she's insane, but I don't really care what she did. I killed Sadius. I stabbed him through the eye. So if she did bad stuff, worse than killing her own father and mother and all this crazy shit, you can tell me. I'm cool. You tell her to stop being insane. All right, peace out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thought the um yeah, Adelyn's suggestion is like, all right, what if we offer them as much stormlight as they could take, delivered by my father, if they only send a representative back with us. Um,
yeah.
and then
Then
he's like, we could bring tons of rock in from our side that is extremely valuable here. And then his other option was like, or we could drop to the knee and beg. But that would seem too hopeless. They'd be like, well, if we're doing that, then they'd be like, well, yeah, if it's so dire that they can't win without us, then why would we even join? Because there's no guarantee that we'd win if we join.
yeah, and the stump's like you should appeal to their honor somehow. So we get a little hint. Um, but it's a little
Appealing to the honor of Honor Spren?
exactly.
What?
You also get the stump's real name. I forgot it though.
Arshcom?
Yeah,
Yeah, we got that way earlier, but
yeah. But yeah, it's Cool. I'm curious how. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Maya that wins over the Hunter sprint. It seems like what they're heading towards. That they're going to be. Oh shit! He repaired a dead sprint. What the hell? Oh, he's the most honorable person or something like that. Yeah, that's my theory. We'll see if it
That
proves
was
out.
your Maya
Maya
theory.
theory. Yes.
Maya theory.
All right, I'm ending the podcast now. Uh,
Done.
yeah.
Chapter 33.
Chapter 33, Understanding. We get Kaladin. It's basically Kaladin is starting a group therapy session for a bunch of people. He found more like war victims, and they're like all talking to each other. Yeah, created like a Vietnam group, so they can talk over their struggles. Um, so yeah, they're doing pretty good. Um, uh, it's good to have people that understand your trauma. Uh, which Kaladin has a lot. He's a slave. He was a war hero. So a bunch of people die. So he's helping them. They're helping him. Um, you know, slowly healing. That's pretty much it. We get a little bit of the parents seeing his slave brands, and he's like, "Oh, you don't understand," stuff like that. I think that when he swears the fourth ideal, his brands are gonna go away. That's definitely gonna happen, right?
I could see that. I
They're they're
never
fi-
thought
they're
of it, but
finally gonna heal. He's like, "Oh, my trauma has been not healed but suppressed, or like, I've lived with it now, or something like that," and then they're gonna go away.
I could see that. What would that mean though? Like he's holding on to being a slave?
I think it's holding on to the fact that like he couldn't save everybody and stuff. Like all the people he led died. So maybe like there's a trauma, or I'm guessing the fourth ideal is something like I can't save everybody, but I'll move forward or some shit like that. Um, when he accepts that, he's gonna like zap his slave parents away or something like that.
Basically what that Terra chick had told him.
Yeah,
Like maybe one day you'll start living for the living.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah. So I think I mean they've made so much um a big deal of his like things never healing that I'm pretty sure that when he wears that, it's gonna pop out, which is gonna be a really cool thing. But yeah, it's just a little short thing.
Yeah, a little short
Kaladin's
chapter.
Kaladin's healing people. Pretty cool.
And the fact that his mom was like, I understand you. Your dad understands. He's like, no, y'all don't. Like y'all have empathy or sympathy for me, but y'all can't. Uh,
Yeah,
there's no way y'all can understand. So
yeah. It's like listening to veteran stories or stuff. Like you're like, holy shit, and you can learn about it and stuff, but you can never really know because you weren't there in the muck. Even if you read 1,000 books or whatever, you'll never really know truly what it was like.
yeah,
Which is good to remember, even if no matter how much empathy and stuff you have, you don't have that lived experience.
very true.
Yep, we're gonna go on to the last chapter of our reading, chapter 34, A Flame Never Extinguished. This is a Shalon chapter. Um, so we get Shalon. They're meeting. They're having a discussion with all the Radiants, more about how to come up with stuff. Adolin came up with a bunch of ideas that you kind of went over earlier. I think this is the chapter that they all do that. They're like going over all the different ideas. None of them seem that great. Um, it's kind of deflating to Adolin because he's took a lot of time to kind of figure stuff out, and he really wants to do this because he wants to impress his dad and stuff like that. And he wants to actually be useful because he wasn't useful in Alethkar and a bunch of others, and wasn't even though he was really useful in Thaylen City. He's not a radiant and stuff like that. So he's starting to feel very much inadequate, which is interesting. Um, and then we get more barrel stuff. We get like she's like, I want you there to like kind of start learning how to like do politics and stuff like that, and you know, um, which is fun. And then she basically decides that Barrel's not the traitor. So there's that. Yeah, so they're trying to figure out how to figure out all that stuff. Then they go, they walk up to like a really good ledge, and they see a star spring, and that's really cool looking, and it forces Shallan out of her like stupor because she has to draw it. Um and it seems to like pose for her, which is really interesting. And it seems like this part of Shazemar is where you can see Star Sprint a lot. Um, and we get Aelin's the story of Aelin's first mishap with ladies, where he gave this lady when he was 14 a really nice sword, and then talked about it for like 3 hours until she got bored and ran away. Uh,
But then also like later on, he heard her
Talking shit about
talking
Renarin.
shit about Renarin, and so like it was his first time seeing that somebody could be beautiful and ugly at the same time.
Yeah.
But then Adolin being who he was, she was like homeless or something. It's like something was happening where she was down on fortune and luck.
She was like a lesser noble, so she was trying to fit in basically.
But he did something to help her after, even after hearing her
Yeah,
talk badly about Renarin.
yeah, um, yeah. So yeah, we get more about Adolin and
Father.
his father, which is really interesting. Yeah,
Dalinar thinks that his son will always be better than him.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. He's a remnant of his mother, this noble little statue who got all of her goodness and none of his coarseness. He doesn't want me to be me or even him. He wants me to be this imagined perfect child who was born better than he ever could be. So yeah, Adolin's starting to become his own man, growing into something interesting and fascinating. So I'm looking forward to that journey, and hopefully getting all the honor sprint on this side.
yeah. And the last words of this chapter are so sweet, where Shallan's like, and the Star Spren leaves um, because of the lack of attention, and she can't hinge nothing. Wait, what? Yeah, nothing in the world compares to the beauty of Adolin.
Yep.
I think I autocorrect
So I
changed
can
the
do
word.
it. The majestic sprint has started to fade into the cloud, perhaps feeling ignored now that her attention was someone else. Well, it wasn't the sprint's fault. It simply couldn't compare. Oh, very sweet.
Right. This chapter, like it brought Shallan's inner thoughts to be very poetic. Like I was reading this, I was like, what the like as they were walking along and like the description of the area they were walking, I was like, what in the hell just happened? Like this is like extreme beautiful descriptions of things. And I'm like, oh, Shallan is like coming out, like because it's her POV. It's like Um, she's coming out of that shell and s- something she's extremely passionate about, and that's exactly what Adolin was trying to do with her. Um, I forget, I forget who it was that told him. Was it Una Tivi or somebody? One of the
But
Spren had told him that that ridge to walk on, like he's like that ridge is really beautiful, and if you go up there, you could probably see a star Spren.
yeah, it
And
might have
that's
been
what
the honor sprint guy.
Notum.
Yeah, this is also where we see him riding a horse,
Yes,
which is really cool.
but it's not a horse.
Not a
It
horse.
reminded me of the unhorse in Black Sun Rising,
Yeah,
the hunter's horse.
yeah, those are cool. A lot, a lot of this book is has very similar stuff to Coldfire.
It does.
Weirdly enough, um, I mean,
I
obviously
wonder if
Coldfire came first, but
he read Cold Fire trilogy.
yeah, I wonder.
So
Because like the sprint and the world of Coldfire are very similar in interesting ways and different ways. Um, yeah, but they're cool. Maybe we can do that trilogy sometime.
oh god,
But yeah, good stuff.
excuse me. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to finishing part two. Um, hopefully this Shadesmar expedition will at least get into the fortress and whatever side quest that will entail, which would be cool. Hopefully meet the
Restore.
infamous Restories.
Yeah.
Learn more about Shallan's past. Hopefully,
I would hope so.
yeah, should be fun stuff. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'll probably read a bunch tonight now that I can.
Yeah, I might I might finish Mistborn. Um, but yeah. So if you made it this far, thank you for sticking around. Um, these are fun conversations. I really enjoy them. Feel free to like, follow, subscribe, share, leave a rating or a review, any of those, or all of them, or none of them, whatever your preference is. Uh, obviously, the more you do, the more people like you and me will find out about us, and they can join in the community and the fun. Um, but Justin and I do this because we love to read and we love to talk about things. It also helps to cement the stories in our heads,
Yeah.
even though a lot of the details have already been lost from book one, two, three. Uh, but next week, you can join us back for um, the rest of part two, including the interludes. I think it goes through interlude six. So stop reading when you get to part three if you're following along. If you're not, then do whatever the hell you want. I don't care, and I can't stop you.
What? I can stop them now.
Make sure you check out our sponsor, Mudcat Whiskers. Use code Paperweights at checkout on their site to save yourself 15%. And we'll see you next week.